Welcome back to another edition of the Tribal Lines podcast, another Survivor podcast, your favorite podcast, brought to you by yours truly, Pat Johnson, joined by my co-host, Stephen Lupo. What's up, Stephen?
What's up, Pat? I'm excited to talk about this episode. But first, I wanted to say that, any of you constant watchers of our podcast probably know that I host a Survivor game on Zoom. And we had season 4 take place this past Saturday, the 9th. And we had some familiar faces on the cast. Madison, my girlfriend and previous guest host, got 5th place. Pat, our co host, got 4th place, taken out in fire against our previous guest host Govind, who ended up getting 2nd place. So it was a good placement day for the members of the Tribal Lines family for sure.
Yeah, definitely good. Top. Anyone else been on the pod that's played in that game? No, right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Not
Um,
yet,
well, not yet. Yes, next season we'll get some previous guest hosts on the season 5 cast.
for sure.
And then during the Twitch stream, we streamed the mini so that people can watch it live. People can watch it back because it's recorded and now on Twitch and YouTube. Um, we during the downtime, we were able to play Pat's music, his band's music, Fluorescene, which was awesome that we got to do that. Oh, what's up? Which one is
Cody
that?
Cody made a guest appearance.
Cody, what's up?
If he and for the people that are just listening and not watching, Steven's wearing a Fluorescene shirt, which
Oh
I
yeah,
was gonna bring up. I wish we made cat stuff. I wish like Cody would wear a Fluorescene
I
shirt.
know, right? Yeah. I mean, you guys should start doing that.
And who knows? But next could be some Tribal Lines shirts. That could be
Yeah, yeah.
really fun.
So we'll look out for that. We're gonna try to get some Tribal Line shirt out there. But yeah, this is a pretty sick shirt. Reppin' Shame, his most recent song. So if you guys want to buy it, Pat will put some description in the YouTube caption and go out and buy some Fluorescene stuff.
Yeah, it'll be fluorescene.bandcamp.com. I'll let you know where to get the goods. I'll probably be dropping another merch item pretty soon. So appreciate all the love and support on both ends of Fluorescene and Tribal Lines. Appreciate the love, Steve. Thanks for repping the shirt.
Of course, of course.
Wow.
All right, so this final 11 episode, if I had to sum it up in one word, it's disgusting.
Disgusting.
Everything about this episode was so disgusting. The weather was super gloomy. It was I think it was raining a little bit. It was dark clouds. The gameplay was disgusting. Terrible gameplay from
Arguably.
pretty much everybody. Um, and then it was just a disgusting result with Emily getting voted out with just one vote.
Disgusting, but a bit poetic. Uh,
Mhm.
I know Emily in her exit interview says that she went out, that she wishes she went out in, maybe a better fashion, like a more like crazy fashion, but it's pretty, pretty wild with one vote sending you home. Maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe she could have been talking about the edit because it was kind of just like Emily. It was kind of, but with it, I felt like her story, I felt like I didn't get like the tear jerking music and like anything that pulled at my heartstrings just felt like a regular, 7th place boot.
I feel like we would have gotten that if it wasn't between Austin and Emily. I think they instead of doing the sad music, I think they were trying to make it more like intense, thinking, oh, Austin didn't play his idol. Is Austin now about to go home? More so than Emily's about to get voted out.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah. Um, so when they got back from tribal, they were super excited that Bruce got out. They were like jumping up and down, having a party. um and the fact that he didn't play his idol, I thought, I thought it was a bit much from the jury perspective, like at the tribal council, but I guess I understand them all getting excited that they got Bruce out. Everyone wanted Bruce out, so it's maybe that'll help bond them for like an hour, and then they'll go back to trying to see who they want to vote out next.
Yeah, I mean, I think without that idol, Bruce is still in the game. Like, I think if he never finds that idol, like he might be in the Jake spot in a different capacity.
I
But
don't think so. I think he's going home this round also.
yeah, no, I'm saying if he just never had the idol, I don't think his target would have been as I think the like the idol was the only thing that ever made Bruce like a target. You can look at the individual immunity wins,
He
but
was a
like
target before that. They when well he wasn't
he's
a
been a target the
target.
whole time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like well, when they first came to the beach, remember nobody was like talking to him,
Yeah.
and then he started like going after Caleb for no reason, and like
Huh.
people were realizing how much they didn't like Bruce. And then Caleb, last second resort, decided to tell people that Bruce had the idol.
Mhm.
But I think the fact that Bruce was immune, so that's why nobody was throwing out his name. I
Well,
think
for
if Bruce
sure.
wasn't immune there, he would have went instead of J Maya or Caleb. Um, so I don't know if the idol necessarily made him a threat,
I
but
just don't know why he was such a, because like for me, like he's the perfect person to bring to the end.
yeah, I mean, but the thing is, if you're not working with them for many votes, you can't really trust them. Like
Oh,
obviously
well, yeah, there's a
you
lot of
want to
yes.
bring yeah, you want to bring people you can easily beat to the end, but if you can't trust them and you need to trust them for 5, 6, 7 votes in the merge, then
Yeah,
unfortunately
Bruce probably
that's
just too much of a wild card.
I feel like if Bruce did play the idol, maybe he would now be in a Jake spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. Crazy Uncle Bruce. I missed him on my
That's
stream.
why it was important for him to play it because just like people think, even I have thought in games that I've played that uh, if I if I just get one round further, I'm still going to be a target the next round. But you got to think if you get one round further, lots of things can change possibly, and so
Oh
you
yeah.
always want to make sure you get one round further so you have the opportunity to make something happen. Bruce should have played the idol. It was unfortunate, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a blunder right there.
But then Emily makes a little bit of a blunder. Decides to tell everyone that why Julie got her name written down. Said that she was the reason that Julie's name was out there. The reason Bruce didn't play his idol. Said how he was able to trick him, and at the same time made Julie one think that Emily. Why would Emily throw out her name? Like so now, Emily she knows Emily's the one throwing out her name, and secondly, now she thinks Emily's a big target. So I think maybe Emily would have been a target going into this round, even if she didn't say anything.
But
But
now this time she said, "Hey, put it on me." And
yeah,
I just think she's so much smarter than that. I didn't and I think she would be the first to say that that was a big mistake. Um I don't
hmm
know. I don't yeah, I she just didn't seem like the type of player to like say something like that. Like the lack of awareness in that spot is questionable. So I don't really know.
yeah,
But
that's something you want to say at Final Tribal Council. You don't want to say that at Final Seven and make yourself a bigger threat than you already are.
yeah, and I mean, if she, that position she's in, Caleb made himself really big. He was talking to everybody. She was able to kind of keep herself small and build trust with a couple of people. Here, she just shows a lot more agency than a lot of those people that are working with her may have thought that she had. Makes her target kind of explode in a sense because I think if I'm out there and I'm looking at her story as a player as well, I'm understanding that she's a bit of a threat already, just being the last member of your tribe.
Mhm.
Like we're smart enough people. If we're playing, like we're also looking at characters, right? You're like out there, like you're like this person's here because of this reason. Emily's outspoken. She's probably got a great story. She's probably got something up her sleeve. She's smarter than this. What I mean? So you have to take a lot of things into account when you're out there. And I really think that she did such a great, perfect almost job up to this point managing her threat level. And it's not like this was like a slip up. This ended up being not the nail in the coffin, but it had to do with the demise for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then the showmance is confirmed. D and Austin are
Whatever
starting
that
to be a
is.
showmance. Yeah, whatever that is. I guess not a showmance enough to where they're kissing, but like besides that, it's pretty much a showmance.
Yeah.
Uh, they did a flashback to Boston Rob and Amber. I thought that was
Jeff
pretty.
probably loved that. He was like, "Yo, make sure Rob's in that."
Oh, he's in love with Rob.
Little
He's
Boston Rob cameo.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So and then they promise each other that they're gonna take each other to final three.
Didn't even
Um,
have to say it for us to know it.
yeah, exactly. And it seems like at this point, where we saw the entire season that Austin and Drew are each other's number ones, and D and Julie are each other's number ones. I really think that D and Austin are truly each other's number ones, and then D's number two is Julie, and Austin's number two is Drew.
Well, on your point there, romance or not involved, that is the best spot to be in when you're in a four. Is like the best thing you could do if you're in a four is to have two number ones. And
Hmm.
I think that we're seeing that a lot more in the in the new era is multiple number ones in a sense. We'll get to it. D openly says it, which was
Which was crazy,
I don't know if that's the move, but
right?
but what I can say is, if you're Austin and you have Drew as your one, and you have D as your one, same thing for D where she has Julie as her one, and there's it's a lot better than Julie and Drew who just have the other because when push comes to shove, you're in a more power position, you have a lot more agency, and when there's two people that are linked together within a four, it you're like almost unstoppable at that point. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people look down on the fact that you will have two number ones in a game, but honestly, like that's the move. Like you want to have multiple people that you can trust fully. Like I understand like if if like one of your number ones realizes there's another number one and you want to take them out because you don't know who they would pick over each other, but in most cases in Survivor, you're not deciding between your two number ones
Right.
situation. Usually you're kind of all working together in some capacity, or else it's going to be kind of hard to balance those two number ones late into the game. So I understand like very, very late in the game, maybe you have to make a choice, but or mid merge, early merge, that kind of situation, like there's no reason to be going after someone's number one or worrying, oh, they're not going to pick me over him or her. Like, just like have good allies, go late into the game. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. The problem is we're getting close to the late game. We're already at final six now. And so now that's something definitely Julie needs to be a little worried about. And I don't think Drew really understands that yet. I think Julie knows, but I think Drew still thinks that Austin will be loyal to him over D.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I agree that he probably thinks that, but I don't see that. I
I
don't see
don't see it
that to be
happening
true.
though. Yeah, no.
Um,
Um,
which
yeah.
when you really look at it in retrospect too, it's like one of those things because if Austin's thinking about the end, right? Well, they all are clearly, but if Austin's thinking at the end, uh, if he wants to sit with D, at that point, it's like you're splitting votes there. If you sit with Drew, it's you're. I'd rather he should want to sit with Drew because the jury's gonna like Austin a lot more than Drew, and they can claim a lot more of the similar moves. To where if he sits with D, I think that D would just win the jury over Austin just purely over social game. Because when you're within that four, and this goes back to what we were talking about in the mini, and then you let a little underdog sneak in, there is a world where Jake or Katora can steal this from one of the Reba. So
Yeah. After seeing what happened in my mini, I'm not ruling out Jake just yet.
better not. I never count out my my
Jake,
Jake.
okay, he's he doesn't want to be a goddamn tree anymore.
Yeah.
He's ready. He's ready to get a starring role.
Yeah.
Um, so next thing that happens is Jake, Katura, and Julie are talking about being lawyers, and Katura is pretending to be interested because she's technically not a lawyer in the game, but she really is a lawyer. So it was kind of cool seeing all three lawyers talk about lawyer stuff and whatnot. And then we see Katura shares her story about how she was in a cult, got taken out of school after fifth grade, had to work 3 to 4 jobs. She was then told that she had to marry the leader of the cult. So then they ran away in the middle of the night, her and her mom, started up high school at 14, and then realized she was black, poor, a woman, and gay, and decided to be a lawyer to advocate for black people. I thought that was a great story. A lot of
Might
people
be.
are saying like, why wait this long to hear the story? But I think it's the reason they waited so long is because she told the story in during this round.
That's exactly what I feel like.
So it just
And
made sense. But it was great to hear her story. That's a crazy story.
yeah, talk about a survivor. I mean, like when you go through something like that, I mean, I haven't gone through like 1% of that kind of experience.
Mhm.
It just shows like, what kind of players are in this game too. It's like she has gone through so much. She has so much brain power, so much will, strength, determination. I think that was a perfect uh point in the game to put that story in as well. I mean, I know that we said it because she said it, but it was also a perfect point to put it into the game. She just like finally got Bruce out. Now she's able to flourish and start a different story here. Like that's
Exactly.
finally complete. And maybe this is maybe a tease into her sneaking her way and fighting into the end. So
Mhm.
it was a beautiful story.
Very beautiful story.
So
Also makes
horrible
it
that she had to
perfect.
go through it, but she's stronger for it.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely. And
it's yeah.
now it for sure makes sense why she got cast.
Yeah.
People are always they're always looking for like people with like big stories, like powerful stories that happened in their life. Um,
And that's
and
just one you can't turn away because like that's like what a story to tell.
exactly.
Like and that's what Survivor's about is like telling the story. With the 90 minutes, we're getting more of these players and like hearing more of their stories and getting closer with these players. And it's like, if we can just hear about all these different people that live, in America that play and Canada that play Survivor, it's like it's great. It was a great story.
hmm Yeah, definitely was. And then after the opening credits, we saw a green rock. So I thought maybe something will come down to rocks. Maybe someone will lose their vote. Maybe a shot in the dark will be played, and then rocks will happen. But it turns out it was only the journey. Some they had to draw rocks to see who ended up going.
I could have
Emily
done
chose
without this.
rock. Yeah, we didn't need all that. I mean,
Just play the
I
game.
get they if they wanted to if they didn't want to decide on one person, they could have just found sticks, drawn sticks. We didn't need the whole rock thing. Um, I feel like it's honestly more exciting to see them discuss like agreeing on somebody, and then if they decide to draw rocks or draw sticks, then they can do it. But it was
You know what I would have loved? I would have
what
loved like like when they come over in the boat and they hand over like the script or whatever. Uh I would love if it just said get on this boat.
yeah, whoever reads it, get on this boat.
Yeah, like just get on this boat. Don't say a word, just get on this boat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I was also listening a little bit to the rap podcast and something they brought up, um, which I thought was interesting and definitely would have been a fun twist, is um, to put the like 7 stations of the same puzzle just at camp, and the first person who wants to attempt it gets to attempt it. And if nobody attempts it, nobody attempts it. But give everyone the opportunity, first come, first serve.
Hmm.
That could be interesting. That
Yeah.
and then you
Something
have to.
that was
It's
kind of
also like it's also public. Well, it'll be like yeah. I guess it's public, or maybe they can have like some sort of like box or room where like it's private. You don't know if somebody completed it or not, but you know if somebody went to go attempt it. They could hide it out in the woods, so like you could like sneak off at a camp and say you're like going to the bathroom, and then you end up actually playing the puzzle. Who knows? But like I thought that could be a fun twist to maybe use in a future season or something.
yeah. I mean, anything was better than the way that they did it. I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah.
uh whatever. I mean, she ultimately chooses not to play. She gets on, she I love when she like pulls it and she's like, of course, like me. Like
Yeah.
it's like gonna be me. And she goes, she doesn't want to play. She looks at it, she's like, I'm not solving that. Smart on her because I'm not losing my vote at the final seven. Or
Mhm.
you could put 2 plus 2 in front of me. I'd probably take it. But like other than that, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of things I'm not taking that I feel like even if I was decently confident to whereas if I'm at like the merge or if I'm like in, I know you're in smaller tribes in the pre-merge, but like maybe earlier in the game I'd be more inclined, but like that late in the game, the final seven where like, lines are kind of drawn in a sense. She has she's in a spot at that point to where she could do something, and losing your vote is definitely not worth it. So
I also think that the producers wanted somebody to lose their vote there. Um, the puzzle that they gave is an
possible.
extremely difficult puzzle. I think Carson tweeted the a video on how to complete the puzzle. I watched the video. There's no shot I would have gotten it if I tried it. That the answer key to solving that puzzle is almost impossible to do in 3 minutes.
I
So
feel like there was like no time as well.
yeah, I don't know if it was exactly 3 minutes because they didn't say the exact time. It was just whenever the hourglass stopped, but um whatever time they would have given, I don't think anybody would have solved it. Maybe Drew, but I don't think anybody would have solved it.
I would.
So yeah. And I feel like I'm pretty good at puzzles. I still don't think I would have solved it. So it was very smart for Emily not to play for it. If it was an easier puzzle, I think she should have played for it, knowing she's now probably a big threat and people would want to come for her. But she made the right call, I think, on this one.
Yeah, no, hard agree. I'm never.
Yes.
Yeah, I would never.
Yeah. Um, so Julie thinks Emily's going to be a threat and needs to go, but Drew would rather wait and take Emily out later because she's a number for him specifically. They've developed a really close relationship. I do honestly think that Emily's number one is Drew. Something that I thought was really funny was when Drew compares the Reba Fours late night talk when they were saying they'll all be Final Four to when you're drunk with your friends one night and you guys say, "Oh, we're like the best friends ever," but you wake up in the next morning, you're like, "Are you actually the best friends ever?"
And you
Uh,
never are.
yeah,
It's like when you go to college and like you meet all these people. Like I'm not even talking about like your real like college close friends that you meet over time. I'm talking like when you're like a freshman, you like
yeah,
go out and like
uh-huh.
you meet this person, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be friends with this person the next 4 years, and then like you never see him again. And you think
Yeah.
about
There's
it, and
like
you're like, I told this dude he was like gonna be my best friend.
yeah, there's people like you'll meet for like the first time and then just like off an instant like vibe, like and you're super drunk. You're like, oh my god, I fucking love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a really funny comparison. Definitely true.
Got to
Um,
see some got to see some Basile.
yeah, a little Basile energy there. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I commented on his Instagram post and said Basile in his natural habitat. He liked my comment. I thought I was very excited by that.
Nice. Nice.
My man Basile. Um,
Nice. Big Drew guy.
so yeah, so Drew ends up asking Julie if she wants to do something crazy with her idol, to see if she plans on doing something to get a Reba member out. I thought that was kind of crazy that he ended up saying that. Definitely made Julie a little suspicious. Um, and Julie with her idol that Austin gave, she thinks it's her idol, won't give it back to Austin. But does Austin doesn't want to ask for it back, or else he'll make Julie suspicious. So definitely definitely interesting dynamics with the whole idol situation happening. If you were in that situation, Pat, if you had given someone your idol and you wanted it back, but you didn't want to raise suspicion, what would you do? Would you just let them keep it? Would you ask for it back? Would you demand it back? Well,
Um, I wouldn't demand it. Only because one, I'm not that kind of person. And also I just think that it comes off as like when you demand something, it's because you want it and you need it and you want it now and you need it now because something's happening. That would tell me if someone demanded the idol back from me, that would tell me that they just got done recently talking about me. So I
hmm,
wouldn't demand it from anybody. But would I let her keep it? Absolutely not. I wouldn't just be okay with her keeping it. What I would probably do is just talk, knowing the person I am, probably just talk to her and just be like, I want you to know like why I gave you this idol. It was because like I wanted to keep us four strong, protected in that split, that 3-3. I didn't know what was gonna happen here, there, and the other. I wanted to make sure that you were safe. I have you. Like, how do you feel? Like, do you want to keep the idol? Like, what? Like, is that what you want? And I would have her like I want her to show her cards on why she wants it rather than me exposing why I want it back. So give me the information on why you really want to keep it, and I'll be able to make a more formulative decision with that. Because if she's like, because just you maybe lightly tapping the gas would be enough for her to just give it back because she doesn't want to reveal any of her cards, right? Kind
Mhm.
of crumble under the pressure in a bit too. When you ever been confronted and you kind of just fold, right? Not that I don't really think Julie's the type to fold like that, especially being a lawyer, being under pressure, stuff like that. Um, but there's the other side of it of like I want the information on why you think you still need it if we're all good.
Right, right, exactly. And
Tell me what you think that maybe I don't know. Get the information out and then find a way to get the idol. I would have to be out. I don't know how I would get it back because you can't. I'm not going to physically take it out of Julie's bag or like demand it back in a sense.
right.
But I would have to do some manipulation to get it back.
I think I think Austin was too late. I think
Yeah,
at the final seven, when you gave it to her at the final nine, I think you you can't really ask for it back anymore because you're gonna raise suspicion, and then she's gonna want to keep it, and maybe she's gonna want to come after you because she thinks like you don't guys don't trust each other because you had just made a final four pact. Why would you want the idol back if you know that nobody from the four is gonna turn on each other? Um, so I understand him not being able to ask now, but what he should have done was when he realized that the three groups are not going to go separately to tribal council after he got back from his like journey thing where had to try to earn back his vote. He should have asked Julie for the idol back, like right then and there, and then Julie would have given it back and had no suspicion. But the fact that he waited, really bad move by Austin. Not going to be the last bad move that we talk about from Austin this episode.
no,
Um, so yeah, that's my opinion on I think he should have asked for it right back. He waited too long. Now I don't think he should get it back.
I don't think he should get it back at this point. But I mean, he could have went about it in a better way. That's for sure.
Hmm. Yeah,
He could have
definitely.
not put himself in this position, but it is what it is, my friend
Yeah,
Austin.
and Julie thinks that Drew is going to be the first Reba member to make a move, and she's 100% right about it. Drew approaches Katura and Jake to see if they're open about taking out Julie, um, and Austin wants Emily and then Julie to get voted out. Emily, then Julie. Drew wants Julie, then Emily. Um, but Austin's also worried about leaving Dee out of the loop with the whole Julie vote. Um, so that's definitely gonna be something that comes up later in the episode. Um, and then Emily comes back, tells everyone the truth. Dee doesn't believe her. Drew tells Emily that Julie wants her out, and says that him and Austin are on board to blindside Julie. So that's pretty much what sets us up for this immunity challenge. What are your views on Drew telling Emily and whole that whole
Well, I expect him to kind of tell Emily it's like he's got to pull people in, and that's his number. We were talking about the read before, and Austin and D having like other number ones. I mean, Emily's the closest thing to his other number one. If he's gonna make a move, it's gonna have to be with Emily. So, I was just kind of when I was watching the episode. One thing that I was noticing is like I just feel like we're getting this arc of like Julie's threat level going up and D's going down, which is so good for D.
hmm
Like so
really
good
good.
for D. Um, but I just think that, and I know we'll talk about it, but I think this all just backfires into each other. They shouldn't have named the episode "This Game Rips Your Heart Out." That's the name of the episode. It should actually be named "Bad Movitis" because there was four within 20 minutes. Between people not being able to like keep their mouth shut, between like people wanting to take shots at times that I don't think need to have. I don't know. There was a lot going on. It got messy
Not
quick.
splitting votes, which was ridiculous, especially
Yeah, what is this
ridiculous,
season one?
ridiculous for Drew, ridiculous for Emily. I think those are the two specific, and D, Drew, Emily. Ridiculous that they didn't not vote for Julie, at least one of them. Um, so yeah, I understand Katura. I understand Jake. I understand Austin all voting the way they voted, but or no, I don't even understand Austin. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, she was gonna play it.
Because Austin could, if Austin knew that everyone was voting Julie, and he was nervous Julie was going to vote for him, what if he threw a vote on, I don't know, anybody, someone else like Jake?
Yeah.
Because like Jake doesn't have agency, like, and Austin knows that he'll be able to play his idol at final six, so he's not going to be worried about getting blindsided by anybody at the final six. Um, and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's actually, yeah, that's a good point because he must have been certain that Julie was writing. Like there must have been something I haven't seen, hadn't seen.
oh
He
yeah,
must have been certain
probably.
because without throwing a vote, because at least tying it, you know, yeah, he had to have been certain.
Yeah,
Or he
exactly.
says massively good read, but I don't know.
The thing I am the most concerned with is Drew, not Drew and Emily, because like Emily knows that everyone is voting for Julie. So if and she knows that the goal is to leave D out of the loop. So if D is out of the loop, Emily, your next target's probably going to end up being D anyway, because you are working with Jake now, you're working with Katura, you're working with Drew, you're working with Austin. The next person you're going after is D. So why not, when D is planning on voting for you, this tribal council anyway, write her name down just in case Julie has an idol. Um, I I think
We should have been out there, Steve.
we should have. Oh, I mean, hindsight is 2020, but like at the same time, like this was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, we would have split some votes.
We would have split some votes. We wouldn't have made that mistake. We would have been chaotic.
Live travel.
We in our mini, we had Madison was the advantage queen. We had Pat was the chaos king, always starting chaos at tribal. Govind was our challenge beast of the season.
Yeah,
But
not
yeah, Pat loves the chaos in the minis.
that's it though. Just on the minis where I can hide behind a screen like a loser.
Exactly.
No one can punch me
Um,
or fight me here.
all right, so we are going to go to commercial break, but when we get back, we're going to talk about the immunity challenge. We're going to talk more about Austin spilling to D the plan and what unfolded before Tribal, and talk about the rest of Tribal. So we will be back with you shortly.
And all right, we are back with some Survivor trivia brought by your favorite co-host, Pat Johnson. Sorry, Steve, but your trivia question this week is who was the merge boot from San Juan del Sur? All right, so season 29 of Survivor. Who was the merge boot? San Juan del Sur. No multiple choice. Do you have a good memory? Let us know. Send us a DM, and you will be in the running to win a Survivor gift. Let's do it.
All right, welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast, another Survivor podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, comments, and keep being a part of the Tribal Lines fan base. We love love making this for you guys, and we would love to have a bunch of you guys on the podcast as guest hosts. So if you want a guest host, hit us up, and we'll try to get you on an episode. So let's get back into this immunity challenge. So they have to untangle rope, knock off blocks, then solve a semicircle word puzzle with the word being resourceful. Had to be right on both sides of the puzzle. The reward was do-it-yourself barbecue, which I think personally is the best reward of the season.
Yeah,
This is the one I would have wanted to be on.
easily.
Just seeing Jake, Drew, and Austin chow down on those hamburgers. Like I had just eaten when I was rewatching the episode, and I was like still like salivating over the burgers. Like it looked so good. So
They
happy for
have
them.
beer or do they have soda?
I think they just had soda.
I mean, I'll take anything. Give me a Coke. Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
oh.
Um, so I thought that was a great reward. And then in the immunity challenge, Drew had a huge lead, but he was terrible at throwing the sandbags to the blocks. Probably better than Pat was at competitive
Yes,
events.
yeah, I can empathize.
um, And then Austin, the biggest blank of the season. Oh my God. He got resourcefulness, but Jeff like 3 or 4 times told him it had to be the right same on the front and the back. And he was just standing there like, did I spell something wrong? Like what
Yeah,
happened?
he spelled like Abidjivski high schools.
Yeah, yeah. So some crazy ass word on the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, Drew wins immunity.
Let's
Good
go,
for him.
Drew.
I was so happy that Drew won. And I'll tell you right now, if Drew lost that challenge, he would have been gone instead of Emily.
Probably. It would have just
100%.
backfired.
Because Drew would have tried to take out Julie. Julie would have gotten wind of it, and she wanted to take out Drew, but couldn't. So that's why Austin was the next best thing. The only reason that she didn't write down Austin's name was because of D. If Drew was up for grabs, D would have been like, "That's fine,
Whatever.
go
Yeah,
for it."
someone's gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then Emily would have been an easy next vote, and then Julie, Austin, and D could have made it to the final five with the majority, been able to vote out whoever. So I think that it was great that Drew won. And then he was able to pick 2 people on the reward, chose Jake because they've been the longest without a reward, and then picks Austin for Guys Night 2.0. I think this was such a great move. Nobody can be mad at Drew for picking the guys after Emily just picked the girls. So nobody can be
Exactly.
upset. And especially works out well that it's only 3 people going the reward and 4 people left at camp. 4 people is a majority, but this was also the perfect time to not be in the majority and be the guys because it was Julie and Emily just going after each other.
Exactly. No Kenny Loggins on this episode of Survivor. No,
Mm-hmm.
no Kenny singing, no Drew muscle shots. But
Oh, I know.
uh my
Yeah.
king.
But the girls had a little spot, eh?
Yeah, we
But
did.
half of them want Julie out, half want Emily out. So they're just talking about their buffs. I thought it was really funny how they're talking about the buffs being having a registered trademark and that it was made in Spain. And D was like, "Whoa, made in Spain? That's crazy."
I wouldn't have.
I thought that was just a really funny, like stupid thing that would have never been put in and if it was 60-minute episodes.
Never.
Um,
There's a lot of shit we wouldn't have known about this season.
oh yeah. I think the 90-minute episodes are making this a watchable season. I think if it was 60 minutes, I think it would be a very boring season with just Reba being in the majority. But because it's able to like tell individual people's stories, even the people in the majority and the people in the minority, and really you get to see who they are as characters, who they are as people, definitely makes this a better season. I also think some of the crazy votes that happened, I don't know if there would have been enough time in the 60 minutes to really set it up to where it ended up being an exciting tribal. So
Yeah, tell the full story as well.
I like the 90 minutes. But yeah, like we said earlier, Jake's sick of playing a goddamn tree. He's ready to become a part of the majority blindside. And I'm ready for it, Jake. Come on.
I
Jake
need Jake to
O'Kane.
pull off something.
Yep.
You want to hear my hot take?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Um, I actually think Jake wins final immunity. And I think that's his big moment because I don't know if you noticed, but in a lot of the challenges, it always like shows him like hanging in. You know what I mean? And like shows him like struggling and gritting and fighting. And he's always
Mhm.
like not the first out. He is a couple times, but like he's made it deep at like a couple. I just have this like feeling that he's gonna win the final immunity. Like if it ends up being a scenario where, you know, how many are left? Let's just say Drew goes at 6 and Katura goes at 5 for some reason. You know what I mean? Like you just never know. Like if I could see like Jake definitely winning like a final immunity and just fucking everything up for everybody
Yeah,
else.
I feel like
I'd love that.
lately in the new era, the um there's been this emotion and then there's been like the balancing like words on something like patient type challenges. I wonder if they go back to a puzzle. I wonder if they go back to the classic tree the lighthouse puzzle, maybe if they do the whole slide thing where you have to run up the stairs and then go down the slide to get puzzle pieces. um
Who knows?
I hope they do that. That's always a fun one to watch.
I want to do some motion so bad.
Me too. I mean, I literally have. Do I have it in this room? I must have moved it, but I have a mini version of Samotion,
Yeah.
and I've been like playing with like just little marbles and like a 3D printed Samotion, and it's a lot of fun to play. And I really want to try it on the real big version. That would be so sick.
I love some motion. It's
Some
fun.
some LRGs have the big version. Like Jason, who was on our podcast, got to play it in that challenge.
Yeah,
So I'm jealous.
for sure.
So yeah, then Austin decides to tell D that Julie is now the vote because he didn't feel comfortable blindsiding D. This was not. Uh,
I don't hate it at the
what
same
do you
time.
think? Because like I guess
Yeah.
for Austin, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because he did want to get Emily out first and then Julie. Um, and Drew was the other way around. So
I think what it is, I think so what this did, what Austin Couture says, if it doesn't uh work out, it's because of Austin's emotional heart, right? And what it is he does not want to leave D in the dark. And when he leaves his number one in the dark, one of his number ones in the dark for his other number one, uh, and Julie goes, it's tough to say because I've seen a lot of like where it was a stupid move and where it was a good move for like Austin to kind of blab. I don't think it was like an intention. I think he was trying to keep that a secret. Like I do think he told her only because of his emotional connection. Like if there was no love interest and like Julie was his number one and D was in Julie's position, like would he have blabbed it?
right.
I don't know.
Um, I think he would not. I think he valued the relationship with D to the point where like he thought that maybe blindsiding her would like ruin the future relationship that he would have with her.
Because when you're looking at it at a game point, if you take Julie out, like D still has no choice but to still work like with Austin, you know.
Mhm.
So it's like,
Right. And if you think about it, if Julie stays in, right, and Emily goes home, then everyone I think is still going to want to take out Julie. Now Julie doesn't have an idol, and now D was included in the loop, so now D can't be upset at Austin. Um, to be honest, I mean Austin's in a great spot regardless of what happens. I guess he just didn't want to ruin the relationship with D. Even if they were able to if they were able to successfully blindside Julie, let's say Austin told D and then D did not tell Julie, then they still would have been able to take out Emily the next round, I think.
probably she's not this big immunity.
Knowing that she's a big threat. Although I know the Bellows would want to work with her, Drew would want to work with her. Drew would probably try to go after D. So I guess that's probably what Austin was thinking. Like he probably thought about like he doesn't want to ruin the relationship with D, but also D could possibly be the next target if Julie was taken out because Drew, Emily, Jake, and Katura could work together to get D out. But at the same time, then maybe Austin would play the idol on D. A lot of things could have happened, but I think the safest route for him was to keep Julie in the game as a big threat, take out Emily, who he also thought was a big threat and wanted to get out before Julie anyway. Um, so I don't know if the reasoning behind why he did it was what I just said, but I think um, him doing this actually somehow benefited him.
Yeah, I could see a world where that's true too. And to go off your point, um, when sorry, my cat is all over me.
Cody, what do you think?
Cody, what do you think? Do you think Austin? I think Cody agrees with me. I actually think it was a good move by Austin, even though it wasn't intentional, and it might not be good if he gets to the end because they might view him as like a very emotionally charged player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's good. I think it's good for him because you keep a bigger target. His idol's kind of gone with Julie, which is what it is at this point. But what it does is you keep the biggest target and you keep your other number one's other close ally, which makes all of your allies happy, and you have more ammo to take a shot at Drew now. So
Yeah, it was a good move positionally, getting him in a good position to make the end, but everyone knows that the reason he did it was not strategically, so he won't be able to use that move at the end. It will get him to the end, but it honestly might hurt him in the end, but it now gives him a better chance at making the final three.
yeah.
Yeah. Um so D, she doesn't want to upset Austin by telling Julie. But she really needs her two number ones in the game, because think about this. If it's D with her two number ones, Julie and Austin, that's two people plus yourself that won't be willing to write your name down at the final six. That's 3 votes out of the 6 votes. So that practically guarantees your spot in the final five. Because people are still going to want to go after Julie. And worst comes to worst, you go to rocks. Like, at least there's a tie. There's, like, at the worst.
Julie and Austin are the two people that would go to Rocks for D.
Oh, 100%.
Only two.
So this pretty much D is guaranteed final five in my eyes, at least. So D, so she ends up telling Julie that if she's gonna go home if she doesn't play her idol. She wants to continue playing this game with heart. And then Julie decides that she wants to try to pitch Austin to Emily and Jake, because, as a last ditch effort, because Austin is planning on turning on her. And Julie wants Austin and Drew to man up and face her at the final three instead of trying to take the cowardly way out and take her out at the final seven. And in front of Emily and Jake, pretty much threatens to go rogue. Hey, if I don't hear back from you that we're still good with this Austin plan, I'm just going to throw a vote on one of you guys. I mean, hey, if she knew she was receiving all the votes,
I love her.
you do what you got to do. But I don't know. That was kind of crazy. Hey, I'm going rogue. Like, you're not going to get anyone on your side if you say, hey, I'm going rogue. So
No.
I mean, I guess she was trying to scare them.
The idol though, so it's like I'm doing whatever the fuck I want anyway.
Yeah, because, like, if they knew she had an idol, then maybe going rogue would be scary. But if she's the one vote and going rogue, like, why would Jake or Emily be threatened by that at all? So, and then Emily tells Drew that Julie is pitching Austin. So Drew now thinks that she knows the plan. Someone must have spilled the beans. The fact that Drew literally said this in a confessional, that he thinks that someone must have spilled the beans, and he did not try to protect Emily by throwing a vote on D or Jake is ridiculous.
Yeah, the fact that they all just voted the one way is insane because there was more than two people that could have benefited from throwing votes. And
Also,
like,
yeah.
don't even split it, just throw one.
And also, if Julie knows, even if she doesn't have an idol, and so this is more towards the Emily, Jake, Katura, most likely Emily specifically. Final seven's the last time you could play your shot in the dark.
Yeah.
Julie possibly has an inkling that she's going home. She'll play the shot in the dark. If it hits, Emily is most likely going to go home. So why not throw a vote?
Yeah.
Emily should have thrown a vote. Drew, if he really wanted to protect Emily, should have thrown a vote. And then the whole D, I don't know why she left it up to chance. That Julie might possibly choose to vote Austin.
I don't think that was ever gonna happen.
I guess maybe that was never gonna happen and it was all editing. But I still think it's silly for D to vote out Julie, because the whole point of the plan was not to tell D. So it would have been better to show that Austin never told D by having
Oh, I see what you're saying.
vote for Emily.
I see what you're saying.
Because then it would make it seem like it was never spilled, and it was like, and then she just happened to play her idol.
I see what
Um,
you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of silly for D to vote for Julie because she literally said, "I'll never write Julie's name down." Well, if you're never going to write Julie's name down, then don't write Julie's name down.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to fault you for not writing her name down. So I don't know. I thought that was a little odd. But yeah, Austin tells Drew that he told D, which is another reason why I think Drew should have thrown a vote. Because like, you do really think D is not going to tell Julie? Like once Drew found out that Austin did tell D, Drew should have figured out that D was going to tell Julie. I mean, I thought that was a little very silly, especially because Drew knew how close they were throughout this whole game. Drew knows that they're each other's number ones. Drew thinks that Austin and D are probably not each other's number ones, and that Austin and Drew are truly each other's number ones. So the only thing he could assume is that Julie and D are number ones. If D knows that Julie is about to go home and that she has an idol, she's gonna tell Julie to play it. So I thought that
Yeah.
was really stupid by Drew too, especially because he's been so strategic this entire game, and that he let this plan fall through. Um,
I think it's gonna bite him.
yeah,
I think he's toasted 6.
really.
Yeah.
I think Julie has to go home, right?
I think I no.
I think Julie's a big threat. I think Drew is gonna go fucking crazy at camp and is gonna become the new Bruce type character where if he makes it to the end, he's not gonna get jury votes. And I think they're either gonna be just it's gonna be either Drew or Julie going home, who's the bigger jury threat, the one who's pissing people off going nuts at camp, or the mom who just played an idol successfully. I think Julie's going home, but
Well, think about it.
unless Julie wins immunity, then Drew's a goner.
Yeah, because if you're D and Austin, you obviously want to keep Julian for one more round because you want to at least get to 5 with 3 of
Well, the
you.
thing is, they're worried about Julie being good at fire. So you don't want to risk Julie winning Final Five immunity, and then now she wins
Yeah.
the game.
True, but if you're D or especially D, if if Julie goes and and you go with that, you got to think D goes at 5, right?
Probably.
Right? So it's like
Yeah. I don't know. I guess you're right. I guess Julie and Austin.
and D they have to vote together to protect each other to at least get
But
the.
I feel like Austin would vote out Julie. So that would be like D
But you
wouldn't.
think he'd be more inclined to take the shot at 5 rather than when he could have just done it scot free? Like he wouldn't have. Like I don't think D would have been hard on Austin then if he. But if he does it now, I think it's even worse.
Well, no, because like Austin was able to tell D ahead of time, like, hey, everyone wants Julie out. Like
Yeah.
he literally even said, like, even if you, me, and Julie vote together, we're still not gonna have the numbers.
Yeah. So then
So
maybe, yeah.
and
I
I
see.
don't know if they want to go
It's gonna be
through
one of
the
them two. I'd be absolutely shocked if it's not one of them two.
yeah, me too. Unless Austin pulls off this crazy plan where um Austin is obviously going to play the idol for himself and then knowing he's not getting any votes like plays it for Julie or plays it for D or something.
Who knows?
That could be interesting. But I don't know. So we know that his amulet is only good until the final 6. So if he was considering playing it this round, but now we know that Austin, if he plays it for himself, is safe at final 6, no matter what, guaranteed final 5. Um, so it's looking good for him getting pretty far. I still don't know who's good at fire. I knew Bruce was really good at fire. There's been talk about Julie being good at fire. I don't know if she actually is. All we do know that Jake and Katura seem to suck at fire. Um, but I don't know everyone else. So the fire making challenge is definitely going to be interesting. Like I feel like they gave little inklings in 44 about who was good at fire, who wasn't. But
Yeah.
I I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or D tells Julie that Austin is her number one. What do you think?
I mean, I think like it's not as bad to say that, and this might be controversial, like saying it to your other number one might not be, but I think like Julie specifically is not like the worst person for D to say that to. Um, I think it's kind of like, please, mom, don't vote out. Like, don't kick my boyfriend out. Like we're on our first date. Like, please, you know what I mean? Like, don't kick
Yeah.
my boyfriend out, mom. Like, don't do that, mom. Like, I'll be so upset. You know, and I think that's like the approach of like it's supposed to be us three, Julie. Like Drew's just like Drew would be the first one to go. Like between the three of them, Drew's the first to go. Like in
Mhm.
their
I,
heads.
I think they're just maybe she's thinking if if D wins final immunity, who is going to fire? Who is getting taken to the end? I think that's what she's worried about.
Yeah.
I don't think she's worried about, oh, it's good. The vote's going to be between Austin and myself. Who like will Julie pick Austin over me?
No, no, I know that. I
The
just
final
don't. I
four.
just doesn't want to lose Austin because
Yeah,
Austin is someone else that will bring her to the end.
well, right, in terms of Julie, but
Yeah.
we're talking about, oh, sorry, in terms of D, but we're talking about Julie here.
Oh, okay.
If D wins final immunity, who's she taking to the end? Julie's
Oh,
worried that it's not going to be her. So I think that's what was going through her mind when D decided to say, like, Austin's my number one to Julie,
yeah.
uh, which I think could be a possible slip up in the future, but I still don't think Julie would ever go against D, especially because D's just saved her life. She would
Well,
have.
what if there was a world where Drew goes six, Katura or Jake go five for whatever reason, let's just say, and D wins final immunity and puts Austin and Julie in fire because she can't make the decision on who to bring to the end and brings the lesser player of a Jake or a Katura
If
and makes
anyone does that, they're freaking idiots. I know that's been talked about in previous seasons. I forgot which season it was talked about in, but if you have two final twos and you can't decide, so you put both of them in fire. You could have taken one person and upset the other, but now you're upsetting both of them because you're guaranteeing that one of your closest allies will go home.
yeah,
At least in the other situation where you bring one and put
giving the
one
one a
in fire,
shot.
there's a
Yeah.
chance that both of them could make it. So
I also think that would make D look weak.
it, if what?
Like I think the play is if the final four is like like Jake, Austin, and like Julie, like I think it would be weak to take Jake and make them do fine. Like I think she would show more agency by bringing Austin.
I mean, maybe to the jury. If I was a jury member, you always bring the worst player.
Which would put your two closest allies in fire.
Right.
So it's
Uh,
like shit you have to weigh.
yeah. I'm someone who, if I'm on the jury or even if I'm in the game, if it gets late game and someone has to make a tough decision, you base it off of, um, how are you going to win? Like you
Yeah.
need it for $1 million. You need to be a little selfish. They will. Hopefully, they'll understand, putting them in fire. The reason you should put your two closest allies in fire is because they're both big threats, not because you can't choose.
Well,
Is
for
what
sure. For
that's
sure.
what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I hear you.
Mhm.
All right.
So Drew, he gives a really short answer at tribal. Jeff points it out and is like this is you usually never give short answers. And then Drew starts talking about, oh, like about a historian and how Final Seven is a new page in history. Um,
Uh-huh.
it's classic Drew. He was getting some laughs from the jury, some eye rolls from Kelly.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
think the jury loves him. I would
yeah,
like to see
I
him
think
again because
Kendra
I want to
does.
see the perception.
I think Kendra does. I think Kendra likes
Yeah,
Drew.
they had a good
Uh,
working relationship.
Kelly doesn't. Um, I think Caleb does like Drew. I think Caleb respects the gameplay. Um, Caleb, like, remember, gave him the inheritance advantage,
Yeah.
or the
Whatever
goodwill
advantage it was,
goodwill
they
advantage.
linked up early on.
Mainly because he seemed like a player in this game and he wants to see players go far and do well. So I can see him being someone receptive to Drew. Same with Kendra. not Kelly. I also don't think Bruce loves Drew.
Yeah.
So right now, I feel like the jury is split on Drew, but also the people left in the game, I think, are also more anti-Drew in terms of giving him $1 million, but pro-Drew in terms of working with him. Yeah. So Julie plays her idol. The jury's reaction is priceless. I fucking loved it. The jury was going nuts, especially Caleb. He was like,
Yeah. Face melt.
yeah. It was those are the best. If you're like on the jury and something you don't expect to happen happens, like that's probably so much fun for them to be a part of the jury and see some
Yeah.
craziness at tribal council. I mean
Sitting on your
that
hands all day waiting to know who's going next and why.
yeah,
Finding
they're
out
waiting
what's
like a
going
day or
on.
two to find out, and then they finally like see something happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially like in our mini, like whenever some crazy like live tribal would break out, like I was always like I turned my camera off, but I was always like giddy, like, ooh, like this is good, this is exciting, like the viewers must love this.
I should have
So,
taken a shot every single time my name was written down yesterday.
oh my God, you would have been fucking passed out. Yeah, you didn't even like get a lot of votes each tribal. It was like you got 2 votes or 1 vote, like almost every tribal
Just
council.
frequent.
Yeah. You were like Jake. You were always the backup vote, but you were never the target.
Surviving, baby.
Surviving. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Eh,
Emily ended up going home with 1 vote because nobody decided to split, which is just wild to me, especially because no idol has been played yet this season. So they got to know that um, at least 2 idols are probably still in the game out of 7 people. If you don't have it, that means there's a 33% chance that Julie probably has the idol. Um, you should have split. I don't know. I
sure.
thought it's
Shoulda,
silly that
coulda, woulda. Dummies.
coulda, woulda. Uh, so we have the scenes from our next episode. Julie and Drew look to be at war. Drew throws the top of the pot into the tree. I'm excited to see that. Whenever Drew gets annoyed, his confessionals and the confessionals of the person he's annoyed at always
Priceless.
cracked me up. Though when it was Jake and him, so good. Probably going to be Julie and Drew now. It's going to be great. I'm excited. Um, Katura and Jake want to plan a blindside, and Dee tells herself not to play with emotion and play for $1 million. Uh, Specifically on those 2 notes, the Katura and Jake wanting to plan a blindside, and Dee not wanting to play with emotion. What are your predictions on that? What do you think was the reasoning behind them, like both of those groups of people, like saying what they said in the?
Oh, because they want to show us that it's probably going to be Julie, but it's actually going to land on someone like Drew. Like I think that that's why it was put into the scenes for the next episode. Like it is it talking about like a I think it shows like a Julie demise in a sense. Like Dee's ready to make the move, jump shit like just vote Julie out, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. I'd be shocked. I shouldn't be shocked, but like something feels like it just feels like Drew's time's up. I feel like this is going to bite. I feel like we saw a lot of like what rightfully so cocky confessionals from Drew. He's a very smart, intelligent guy. But I always thought that his downfall would come from not being able to land a big move. And that's just where I'm sitting at. I'm putting my eggs in that basket. Hopefully I'm wrong because I want to see more Drew.
Yeah. So yeah. So
I don't
do
want
I.
any of these
I
folks
love
to go.
Drew.
That's a good I could see a lot of different Final Three combinations that would be really exciting to watch. So
hmm Yeah, yeah, the whole blindside thing, I definitely do think that it could be maybe Drew. I don't know. Like I really can't predict the whole Katura Jake blindside thing because I don't know who would they would get to vote with them against whoever the other person is. So we'll see when we see the episode. But the whole Dee telling herself not to play with emotion, play for $1 million. I don't think it's because I feel like it's to vote the way that maybe to vote out Julie, maybe, or
yeah,
or to vote against Austin, one of the two, because maybe Austin wants Julie out, and then D is still thinking like, well, I don't want to vote Julie out. Like maybe let's vote like against Austin and make a big move, and vote out Drew. Or she could be thinking like Julie's going to be a big threat. I can't play with my heart. I got to vote her out. So we'll see. We'll see how that unfolds. So the survivor pool that I host, we are now 11 episodes in. We started with 9 people. We had 8 for so long. We're down to the final 2. We have Patrick Johnson
Let's go.
and Shane Robinson are the final 2. Shane is going to pick Austin this week because he has nobody left other than Austin. And Pat can choose between D or Katurah. So now, Pat, if neither D or Katurah go home, then you win automatically.
Let's go.
If you pick correctly this week, but the other person you don't pick goes home, then there'll be a tiebreaker for the finale. And then if you pick incorrectly and whoever you pick actually goes home, then Shane wins.
Okay.
So based on what we've talked about this episode, it doesn't seem like D or Katurah are going home. So it seems like you're probably going to win. But who are you going to pick this week to not go home, and who are you picking for next week? In other words, the person that you pick this week needs to be, let's see, in order to get the tie, then the person that you don't pick needs to go home. So you're picking whoever has the best chance of surviving out of D and Katurah this week.
D.
D. Okay.
Well said. One letter.
So Pat chooses D. If D and Katurah don't go home, Pat wins. And if Katurah goes home, at least Pat is in a tiebreaker with Shane. We'll see what happens after this next episode. Pat is also in first place in my fantasy league, so he might be the first person to win both fantasy and the survivor pool.
Just don't ask about fantasy football.
Yeah, just don't ask about fantasy football. He's doing terrible in them. Probably gonna have to do our fantasy football punishment for my league.
Wait, Steve, what place are you in the CE league?
In the competitive events league, I am in dead last. So Pat and I are both gonna have to do some punishments this year.
That's right. We'll just do it together.
But in my league, I'm in first place. So
yeah.
I'll take it. We'll take a last place with a first place. It's okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you guys for listening, for watching, and we can't wait to recap episode 12 with you next week.
We will see y'all. Can't wait. We're getting close to the end. It's been awesome. So appreciate everybody.
See ya.
Good night.